So I was walking home from the speakeasy, and I see this guy. He pulls out this Tommy gun, and he starts going to town on this other guy, and he's laying in the gutter in a big pile of blood. Next thing I know, I'm running for my life because this guy is trying to kill me too. I gotta put these guys away. I gotta do it. I agreed to do this interview only because I knew you wouldn't show my face. So, I don't know what to say. I just gotta lock these guys up because no one feels safe. This town is a crazy town. This town is Mantis Falls.
Mantis Falls is a 2 or 3 player only game where players are going to have a hidden role. They're either going to be a witness or an assassin. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to fulfill your goal through gameplay. So if you're a witness, you need to make it to the end of the road without dying. If you're an assassin, you need to kill the witness because they are going to narc out your mob boss. And Godfathers don't like that when that happens a lot. So it's done through some interesting card play. There's some events that are also going to be beating you down. So it's kind of like a semi-co-op, even if you're not really working together. So if both people are a witness, it's going to be full co-op. But if one person's an assassin and the other person's a witness, you're still kind of working together because you got to defeat these events that happen, or you may both die and nobody wins, and that's no good. That was a terrible explanation. Let's just go down to the table, and hopefully what I show you makes it sound way cooler than what I just said right there. All right, so here's a game of Mantis Falls, all set up for 2 players. First off, up at the top, this is a hidden role game, so this is going to be hard to show in my normal playthrough, so I'm going to kind of play with some stuff open and some knowledge that you're going to know, which you probably wouldn't know, but it's kind of want to show you how the game plays, and if you ever play a hidden role game, you're going to kind of be doing some of that in the background. So to set up, you're going to give each player a role card. If you're playing 2 players, there's going to be 2 witnesses and an assassin. You're going to randomly shuffle them, deal out 2. So there may be 2 witnesses, there may be a witness and an assassin. Give each player a character, which is going to show you your maximum life and any special power. So in this case, I'm a doctor. My maximum wounds are 7. And that player, they'll have their own deal. Once I hit 7, I'll reveal my power, and then we'll go over some of that. I probably won't get to that, but I'll kind of explain it. You're going to put the allied deck here. You're going to give each player 6 action cards, which look something like this. They're going to be cards that you're going to be playing through the game. This is the crux of the game right here. And each player is going to get a call and a hit card, which is a midnight card, which are the best type of action cards. We're just going to have a life tracker. You'll have a red marker on the 0 in wounds and a black marker on the 0 in last gasps. Same for that player. Event deck here, action deck here. You're going to put 3 midnight cards next to the night road, 2 midnight cards next to the dark road, 4 conserved energy spaces up at the top, which can be used as an action I'll get to later. You're going to put both of your colored meeples. You can see the colors here at the top corner. So this player is red, that player is white. On the start of the road, and you can always see one road in front, so you'll flip it. To set up the road, you're going to put the start of the road here, the end of the road here. There'll be 4 different sunset cards. You'll shuffle, pick 3 of them. Remove the other from the game. There'll be 5 night cards. You'll shuffle, remove one from the game. There'll be 4 dark cards. You'll shuffle, remove one from the game. Put the end of the road here. All right, so I think that's all set up. So now let's just talk about how this game works. So this game is going to take place over 6 phases, or 6 steps in a turn. So the first thing you're going to do, whoever's turn it is, has the option to move 1. So I'm going to say red's first, so that would also mean that white will get an ally card. So red's first. So on their turn, they have an option to move. Moving does a couple things. 1, if you're a witness, you want to get to the end of the road. So as you can see here, this person is the witness. So they need to escape the city before they get killed by either mob opposition, or if that player is the assassin, that player will try to kill them as well. So they're going to go ahead and move. So they'll move 1. Now if you look at these cards, let me hold this up and show you a little bit. If you look at these cards, they have a street light on them with a red, yellow, and a green value. Those don't matter right now. Some events might come out that make that matter, so on and so forth. They're also either going to have a telephone or a bus or both, or maybe like some other kind of icon. They mean nothing when you move on to it, but there are cards that reference types of icons if you're on that street. So this player just moved. And then when you move, you're always allowed to see one road ahead. So there you go. All right, so that's phase 1. Phase 2 is event draw. So what you're going to do is you're going to take an event. And then depending on the type of event, you have a couple options. So there's 2 types of events. There's an unseen event, which is black. And there's a seen event, which is white, which means everybody can see it. So on red player's turn, they draw this black event, an unseen event. And they're going to read it to themselves. Both players receive 1 wound. Now, they're not allowed to show this to the other player, but they can tell the other player what it says. Or they can say nothing. Or they can lie. Whatever they want to say, they can say here. The only issue is when you're resolving the effect, you have to resolve it truthfully, but you have to resolve it accurately. If it says it may be divided among players, you can just say, oh, it just said you had to take 2 wounds. You can, as long as somebody gets the effect, doesn't matter how you do it. So that's kind of what they do. So I'm going to keep this face down. They're not going to tell that player anything because they don't know who they are yet. So just keep it, but everybody's going to receive 1 wound. All right. So that was that. We don't resolve that yet. Now we're going to go to the main action phase. This is the main crux of the game. This is how you're going to be playing these cards in your hand to be taking some actions. So I don't have a ton of room on the table here, so let me slide this wound tracker down. You won't be able to see it anymore, but that's okay because I need to be able to play some cards. All right. So on your turn, when you're playing cards, you have 1 of 4 things you can do. You can discard 2 cards, means you just take 2 cards from your hand, put them in the discard pile face down, and then you'll be able to draw a new card at the end of the phase. You can do nothing, which means you literally do nothing. You say, hey, I'm passing, you do nothing. Or the main things you're going to do would be conserve energy. You could take a card from your hand, put it up here in the conserved energy space. Then when you're drawing cards, you can either draw from face up, or you can draw from the face down stack. And if there's ever 4 cards up here, you can sweep all 4 cards to either heal a wound or be able to take an extra movement during your movement phase. So that's kind of what goes on up here. Or the main thing you can do is you can play cards. So let me talk about playing cards in front of you. So this is called, when you play cards, you got to follow suit. So if you look at this card, it has a suit up here. I don't know how well you can see that, but it has a suit up here. Name of it, picture. Then it's going to tell you what it does down here. In order to play more than 1 card, you have to play cards that are the same suit. So if I wanted to play all 3 of these cards, I could do it. The only issue is here, I have to pick which order I want these to resolve in. So I need to make sure that I'm putting them down and they're resolving in an order that I want. So say I wanted to take the sneakers. I'm just going to do 2. I'll take the sneakers, and actually I'm just going to play the sneakers because I don't need to play another one. But I could play another one as long as I have, the same suit. This player's going to do the same. I'm not going to show you what they're doing. They're actually going to do this. They're going to play their hand pretty obviously. This is probably not something they would really do, but that's what I'm doing. All right. So then after that happens, starting with the start player, we're going to resolve cards left to right, or right to left. Sorry, right to left. So I would resolve mine. They would resolve theirs. If I had one here, I'd resolve it, so on and so forth. But because we only played one, red will resolve first and then white. So I'll resolve. So sneakers. Move forward 2 roads. 1, 2. And then this will reveal, because it does like a snake route like that. So you can always see 1 road ahead. All right, then this player will reveal. All right, so they're going to call in a hit. This is the midnight card. Both players have one of these. It has a sometimes ability. That means it only happens if the condition is met. So this says, if you're within 1 road of a phone in either direction, do one of the following. And remove this card from the game. So I am on a phone and I'm within a phone. So this is good. So I have 2 options. I can hurt the event, or I can hurt the player by dealing... So I can't hurt the player because they're an assassin. I didn't show you that, but I know they are. So I'm going to play this because I don't know what the opposition is, and I want to kill it. So I play that. So I'm dealing 6 wounds to this whenever we're ready to resolve. So after that point, we've done doing that. Now we're going to resolve the event. So we'll flip the event, and the player will say, They don't actually have to flip it. They'll just say, all right, both players receive 1 wound. And then this gets dealt face down, and this is out of the game. So they essentially just wasted this card because it did absolutely nothing. So that's terrible for them. Any card you play will go in a discard pile, face down, and then players are going to draw back up to 7. So they each played 1, so they'll just draw back up to 7. All right, so that's kind of how you're going to play the game. I'm not going to go through a ton of this because there's a lot going on, but that's kind of how you play. So let me talk about how the game ends. All right, so let me talk about life tracker and then how the game ends and how you win. So say when this player called in a hit, okay? So say this player did it and they're the witness. They're calling in a hit on that player. They would give this player 6 wounds. Say they already had 2. So I'm just trying to show you. So they get 8 wounds. They'll now have 8 wounds. They can only go to 7 because they're a doctor. So they go to their maximum hits, and then they get to try to do what is called a last gasp. They have a special ability. So if they had a doctor's bag, they could use it. They don't, so their special ability is kind of worthless. So what you can do at this point is you're allowed to play stops immediately. Once someone hits their maximum amount of wounds, play stops immediately. So any cards that you had down in the action row to play, you could pick them back up and put them in your hand and try to play them again. But what you're allowed to do here is you need to be able to play 1 card that is going to give you some health. Because if you can't, you will die. If you can, you will move this last gasp piece up, and then you'll just put your health down to wherever you saved yourself to. So let's see, we'll look at their hand. They have a baseball bat, which does not give them health. That does not give them health. But here's a card that they can play. So they have a Pied Piper. So they're going to play a Pied Piper. All right, so they get to heal 2 of their wounds. So they'll heal 2, so they don't die, so they do a last gasp. Then they're going to keep this as a condition. I didn't go over conditions, but what a condition is, it's going to be a card that stays out in front of you forever, unless other cards get rid of it. So this player will now have this in front of them. Put that over there. Now, what this condition says is at the end of the game, if they ever reach the end of the road, they die and they lose. So now they know that they can never move past this or they will die. So and it doesn't matter because they're the assassin, which I'll explain why that doesn't matter in a second. But they healed themselves, they didn't die, they used a last gasp. But if you ever use a last gasp and you go to 3, you would die. So basically you can save yourself twice before you officially die. So that's how that works. So then the cards will get discarded. You have to follow suit and all that mess when you're doing the last gasp and everything too. But that's how that works. All right, so now that we've shown you all that, let's talk about the winning conditions. Okay, so I'll go ahead and reveal. So say we know this person's the assassin and this person's the witness. Whenever there's a witness and an assassin, what you have to do is the assassin has to make it out of town alive. Then they win. That's it. If the witness dies, assassin wins. If the witness gets out, assassin loses. If they both die somehow at the same time, it would be a tie, and they would both neither win nor lose. So that's kind of how that works. The assassin does not have to get out. The assassin simply has to just kill the witness. Say, for example, you're playing a game, and this player is actually a witness as well. This one's a little more interesting. In this scenario, both players have to get to the end of the road alive. If one of the players dies, game over, they both lose. So you're going to be fighting the event decks, you're not going to be fighting each other, but the hard part is you're trying to figure out if the other player is a witness or the other player is the assassin, because you never know. It's like that Shadows over Camelot deal where there may be an assassin and there may not. So it's just one of the tricky pieces of this game. So that's how the game works. It's a pretty simple game to play. The trick here is in when you want to play your cards, if you're the witness or you're the assassin, how you're going to play. Because the phones and the bus stops on these cards are crucial. And one more thing I didn't go over. Let me go over that real fast. There are these cards called allies. They'll look like this. And on this side, they're going to look something like this. They're going to basically give you a special power. They're going to have some flavor text, whatever, doesn't matter. but they're going to give you a special power. The trick here is you need to get a certain amount of them. So in order for Miss Rocco to be an ally that works with you, you have to collect 3 of her. So now let me talk about how you collect those. As you saw at the beginning, that player went second, the assassin went second, so they got a free ally. So normally every time you're getting an ally, you can go into the deck and you can pick what you want. So say I had Mr. Barnes. This player had Mr. Barnes, and I play a card where I get to go in to get an ally. So I'm going to look through here. I'm going to try to take the other Mr. Barnes card, because then, now that I have 2 of them, I can put them together and I have a complete ally, and now they're working with me and they're going to give me the special ability. There are some cards that let you discard complete allies that do some stuff. There are some cards that let you discard other players' allies. So while I have it now, I mean, I have it forever. But I just think it's interesting that you can go into the deck and find the ones you want. Same thing with these midnight cards. There are some roads here. Let me see if it's in the game. Okay, so there's a broken road in the night section that may or may not be in the game because you're always going to remove a card. The trick with this one is if you move onto it, you have to move back. So you can't ever move onto it. So you have to move through it. If you move through it, you're going to get to take one of the midnight cards from next to it. Just like the ally card, you get to look in here and take the one you want. So say I want the killer so I can try to kill the other player. I would take it, put these 2 back, and then the other player gets to cross it, then they can take a card. One more thing I didn't explain, and then I'll wrap it up. Along with the phone and the bus, there's also items called ambush, which basically means you're going to have to randomly discard that many cards and you're going to take that many wounds. If you go through it, it's fine. You don't have to get hit, but if you land on it, you get ambushed, beat up in the shadows, and they're going to steal your stuff and give you some bloody noses. So I think that's it. There's a lot going on, but it's simpler than it looks. But there's a lot of double think and, trying to figure out if you're working with the other person or against them. So that's Mantis Falls. Let's go to the top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was Mantis Falls. I gotta say, first thing I want to say about this game is it's super unique. So we did a review or a preview of Lawyer Up, which was a 2-player only like court case game where you're kind of duking it out, doing like a little tug of war thing. This one may be more unique than that, and I was a huge fan of Lawyer Up. This one has some really interesting gameplay, the way you're using the cards, the way the movement works, the way that you, even though you die, you may not die because you had the last gasp come into play, the way you can conserve energy to use those cards as draw cards or to burn them to heal or move. Super clever. The interesting thing is too, is I didn't show you this in the overview, is it seems like this game was built for 2 players. So I'll just say that. But if you wanted to play 3 players, there's a triad expansion in the box that's going to give you some additional cards that work with 3 players. So the 3rd player has a specific role that they're trying to do. I haven't played it at 3 players, so I don't really understand it a ton. But if you wanted to play 3, you can. Also, there's an expansion called Full Circle, which after you've played the base game a few times, getting the mechanisms down and kind of learn the gist of the game, you can incorporate that in. That's essentially the full game, which gives you a little bit like more complex cards. It gives you specific roles. So like, I think everybody is a egalitarian, or I don't remember what the name is, but in the base game, you don't have any special ability on your roll card. In the Full Circle, everybody can get a roll, possibly, because you're going to shuffle, that gives you a special ability. So it just gives you a little more pizzazz going on, and some of the extra cards that get put in there are really cool. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. It's nice to see games that come out that are different. This may not even be a type of game that I would play normally, but the fact that it's different and I had fun with it, it's all I need, I guess. So just seeing the creativity that comes in sometimes with these different games, that just blows my mind that so many games in the world and we can still keep doing brand new things with games that haven't been done before. And Mantis Falls does it pretty well. So I'm actually going to give this a BGM accepted seal. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 4.5 out of 5 wrenches. That's our arbitrary scale. That means absolutely nothing. We give it to games that we like, blah, 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 blah. If you ever watch a video, you've heard us say that a billion times. So you kind of know that just something that makes us feel good that we put on games that we like. So this will be hitting Kickstarter at the end of June. I'll put a link to the video description when the project is live. So yeah, if that playthrough looked cool and you like hidden role games with cool themes, interesting mechanics, you need to check this out. So that's Mantis Falls. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics. And as always, keep gaming.